All right, so I guess we're on, and we're gonna make a quick video here. This is not what we thought it was going to be. Actually, that the title of this video was actually probably pretty racist here. It was getting rid of the red dots. You know, remember that old joke? Um, you know, why do Indian people have red dots on their foreheads? I won't finish it. You should know it. That's fine. But anyway, let me try and figure this out here. Get the thing here. So yeah, so I'm just puzzling. That's what I'm doing. I'm puzzling. I'm getting rid of. This is what I'm doing here is I'm actually doing a three-dimensional puzzle. These are made by a company called Rebbit out of Canada. They have been in business for probably, I think, about 30 years now. Well, give or take. Give or take about 30 years. No, probably not 30 years. That would be, what would that be? That would be 1988. I don't know. Maybe they were in business in 1988, but I think maybe at least 20 years. Okay, at least 20 years. And I've been doing these things since about the turn of the century. I guess the turn of the century. I mean, are we allowed to use that right now? Because I don't know. I don't know if we are or not. Remember back to the turn of the century. Yeah, so I guess the late 90s to the early 2000s. I was doing these things, and I have actually quite a big collection. I think I've got about, I don't know, maybe 125 of the models. I don't have some of the rarest ones. I think the actual rarest puzzle that they make was they made a puzzle of Mecca, and it didn't turn out right, apparently, so then they had to censor it and they had to recall it, and that's why I think if you look on eBay right now, if I wanted to find the puzzle of Mecca, the holy city as far as Islam's concerned, it's hundreds of dollars, new in box, because they didn't make very many, and obviously we know that, but maybe that ties in due to the political nature of it all. So, as far as this one's done. Actually, this is a piece that you have to actually get the pieces that don't have the. See, you could take this apart and then you can put it back together. So, but that's an actual piece, and this will help build the house. And I suppose we'll probably make a follow-up video later. But right now, this is first step. This is step one, and these pieces they have these little red dots on them. So I was not being, prejudiced. Getting rid of the red dots. No, it's not about the joke. It's not about that. You have to get the red dotted pieces, and I think they're actually pretty much they're always red dots. They don't make them in blue. They don't actually deviate from the colors. They just know that the pieces you have to discard have little red dots on them. And, I guess it makes sense to me. So, but I've spent plenty of time just picking through these things and, getting rid of the pieces that have the little red dots. Because, eventually we want to put together the puzzle. And that's that. So this is called 3D puzzling. Actually, I used to do this an awful lot. I mean, I'm going to give you like a little history of me. many years ago, and I would say this is probably about a boot. If we're talking in Canada, yes, it's a boot. A boot, probably a boot the turn of the century, the late 90s, early 2000s. That's when I actually started putting these things together. And it started off as just a hobby because you used to actually be able to get these things everywhere. Or not, maybe not everywhere, but they actually used to sell them at Toys R Us. They do not sell them at Toys R Us anymore. And perhaps maybe that's the reason why Toys R Us is going out of business, because obviously they could not sell enough of these things. So they stopped carrying them. And I guess it does all have to do with sales sometimes. Is when you can't sell something, you're gonna stop carrying it. So I've watched some videos on YouTube and whatnot about. It's kind of interesting, actually. I think like right now, when you think about toys and collectibles, that the Star Wars toys are now on clearance. They can't sell them. And why? Why can't they sell them? Probably two reasons. A, they were overpriced to begin with. And B, people don't have the money to spend on toys. People don't have the money to spend $8 on on a plastic action figure. And I think, and I've seen enough people talk about this where they were saying that they've gone to the toy store or the Kroger or I forget whoever I was watching, I think he was at a Kroger. And so they had him at Kroger, and you wouldn't think like Kroger, it's a grocery store, but they wouldn't have enough places, they couldn't sell them there. So they marked them down to like $1. So here they are, like on the shelf for how many months? I don't know. 4 months maybe. I think when because the toys actually probably came out. I don't know, a month or so before, at least a month before the actual movie came out, and it they can't sell them because they were probably trying to sell them at the beginning for like, I don't know, $7 or something like that. I do remember when I was a kid, and actually Star Wars toys were actually pretty popular because, well, that would have been about 1982, 83, 84, 85. With the original trilogy or whatnot. And even back then, I think they were like $3 or $4 a pop. Back in 1980, let's just call it 1984. And in $1984, that was probably a lot of money, right? I think it was a lot of money. People didn't make what they made today. Not to say that people are actually making big bucks today. Only the people that make the really big bucks are actually making big bucks today. Most people in the world, or at least in America, good luck trying to find a job that pays $12 to $14 an hour. So, sad state of affairs. This is a treat. I don't know, but getting rid of the red dots. I think what actually started me to do this is I'm watching in the background. You can probably hear it. I've got Fox News on just because I'm bored and I don't even know what to. There's nothing on TV. We've got 500 channels here. There's nothing on, and that's probably a good reason to cut the cord on cable. So maybe I should tell mom and dad to cut the cord on cable, but. I don't know. As long as they're used to it. That's their life, That's what they're used to. So we got cable. I just Remember the Alice Cooper song "Lost in America"? You know, I just want to find a girl. You know, with a house and cable. I want to live free. Trust me, I don't live free. Yes, I do live at my mom and dad's house. It's not free. There's a lot of, you give up a lot. You know, you have to give up a lot. But I don't want to enter the beast system, and that's actually part of what I was talking about. I think actually the beginning of the video here, I got started on this video probably because I just got really kind of pissed. Because I'm watching Fox News and they had Jeb Bush on. Low energy Jeb. You know, and I mean, exactly. And it was Laura Ingraham, and she's critiquing low energy Jeb as he's being interviewed in a middle school. You know, and he's like, I just don't think that the president has this, that. You know, well, you know, he actually basically told us why he's not president, because he's got low energy. And he also told us things that he didn't actually say, but when you read between the lines, he did actually say them, because, you know, he's like, well, he's not part of us. He's not part of our team. And, you know, he's not, his version of the New World Order is not ours, you know, because Jeb's daddy, you know, George H.W., you know, read my lips, no new taxes. Well, you know, I mean, he did raise taxes. And I guess we can go back and forth on this one, where, you know, whether or not the presidents are just puppets or not. But, I mean, obviously they do have a certain amount of power. And, you know, whether or not you like him or hate him, you know, our current president, Mr. Trump, has actually a tremendous amount of power. And I think a lot of people don't like that because, you know, they've just listened to the mainstream media and they've said, you know, yeah, well, you know, I mean, you know, CNN says he's a racist, so he's a racist. Well, I mean, is that all it takes? I mean, I guess I'd love to go on CNN and have them tell me I'm a racist, you know, because I'm getting rid of fucking red dots. Thank you very much. And it's not racist. I mean, the title of this video, not racist. It's actually in context. But they would say it's in you know, they would say that it is racist because they would take it out of context. So here's Cindy Pryber making a video, you know, saying getting rid of the red dots. And, you know, obviously we know what we're inferring of. We're referring to. We're getting rid of the red dotted pieces on the puzzle. But, you know, in the vernacular. But obviously people don't know about red dots. And, you know, this is kind of a, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to classify this hobby here. So is it a smart person's hobby? Probably. Are most people going to do this? I don't know. I mean, most people probably have some, you know, tough time here. I mean, I think as you're watching this, you know, I'm just trucking along here, going piece by piece and getting rid of whatever and kind of sorting things. I've got my roof pieces over here, my building pieces over here, and my base pieces over here. This whole puzzle that I'm working on right now is, what does it say? I think it's 440 pieces. Let's just say it's 440 pieces. I'm looking at the back side of the box, trying to read it. Ultimately, it's going to be 11 1/4 inches by 9 1/4 inches by 12 1/4 inches. It's going to be a yellow house. So, I don't know. Is yellow racist now, too? You can't say the color yellow? Who fucking knows? So, oh, we missed one. So, just as I'm riffing here, you know, here's my puzzle of my pile of waste. I still have a pretty good amount going, but we're almost actually done, and we can actually almost start putting together the pieces and actually building the structure and whatnot. I think in the very early beginning of this thing, hang on just a minute here. I need to go for a second. I'll be back in a 30 seconds, minute maybe. So how about I leave you?
Senate and House Minority Leaders Schumer and Pelosi already under fire for losing last week's government shutdown standoff. Today trashed President Trump's immigration framework, even though it more than doubles the number of Dreamers, 1.8 million, who would be granted citizenship. Pelosi was especially vitriolic.
That plan is a campaign to make America white again.
Schumer, meanwhile, acknowledged that during last week's White House meeting on immigration, he demanded that the president's go-to man on immigration, Stephen Miller, not be present at that meeting.
All right, so thank you for standing by for station identification. I'm going to get back to doing this here. Again, I am Cindy Lou, and this is the Cindy Lou Show, or the Deprogram with Cindy Lou, or the Cindy Pryber Show, or we haven't figured out exactly how to title this, and yeah, I'm still kind of half-assedly running for governor of Illinois. So, if you're looking for a candidate and you're not really happy with J.B. Pritzker or whatever his name is, Biss or Kennedy, yeah, like we need a Kennedy, really? I mean, they should have learned their fucking lesson last time. Rauner, and I guess I actually read an article about there's a state senator who's from around here, and her name is last name is Ives. I think her first name might be Kathy, but again, I'm not really 100% sure. Whatever, her last name is Ives, and she's challenging the current governor for the governorship, the office, and so am I. I'm just doing it really half-assedly. I think, at least for now, yeah, it's real half-assed, and I don't even know if I'll actually, ramp it up, because I think I've said this before. Yes, I have said this before, that I don't really even want the job. I'm just doing it for a lark, I mean, I'm just doing it for fun. I just put up a little website or put up a Facebook page and, vote for me. And I tried to go through the process, and I looked into it, but it really got to be too hard, because they don't want people doing this. They want qualified candidates, whatever the fuck that means. Well, you know what that means? That means qualified cabinet candidates like a billionaire, because he can hire people to fill out the bullshit forms and pay the $25,000 filing fee, and so he can get his name on the ballot. And that's why J.B. Pritzker is now the front runner, at least on the Democratic side, mostly. And I kind of checked in with the debate. They had the debate on, I don't know, Channel 5 or something like that the other day, and it just, and here's another guy who's spending a lot of money, and I don't know where he's getting the money from. I think he's a state senator, or something right now, but he's putting it on an ad blitz, so it's costing him money to throw it on NBC or ABC or whatever it is, whatever channels I've seen his ads on. He's like, because I'm the middle class governor, and I've got a family, and I've got a this, and I've got a that. Well, fuck you, Biss. I mean, seriously, I don't have a family. Yeah, I've got a family, but it's not that family. It's my parents, my aging parents, and it's I don't have children that are, that I can showcase as they're running off to school. And I don't want to discount it. It's tough. I'm sure it's tough. It just wasn't for me. I think at a point in time in life it was for me, but eventually you make choices, and I'm like, all right, well, no kids for me. So no kids for me. And I think maybe that's what people need. They don't need a governor who's working with the system, and owes everything to the system, and is using the system and sending his kids, to the system educational centers and all that shit. Maybe you just need somebody who doesn't have kids, who, doesn't want kids, but who actually cares about your kids in a very standoffish way. It's like, yes, because they are the future, and they deserve education, and they deserve this, and they deserve that, but not the way it's going right now. Actually, I want to promote more homeschooling. Should actually this campaign actually get along, or even if it doesn't, I want to start campaigning, a little bit on take responsibility for yourself. Homeschool. Don't send your kids to school. I want to give you a tax break. Actually, I want to abolish all taxes, so that's like kind of stupid. But at least I think you ought to get like some sort of tax break if that's the way we want to go. If you want to homeschool, because I know there's plenty of women. I've met them. I'm not a stranger to the world, and I know there's plenty of women out there that their kids are their lives. That is what they were put here to do, and they did it, and they have their children, and I'm not going to pass judgment on your children, but I'm just saying that you should be able to stand and you should be able to live and raise your children, and hopefully you've got don't want to sound sexist here, but hopefully you've got a guy to help you out, because maybe we should go back to being a little like it was probably well before I was born, where people, it was simpler. You could make it on one income, and and this is going to have to be one of these things that people can understand. People in your own little private lives are going to have to say, okay, we've got a child. Someone has to stay home and raise the child or the children. Someone has to someone has to do it, but then someone has to go out and get the bread. And I don't care whether or not it's the man or the woman, somebody's got to go out and apparently get the money. I hate the money system. I want to get rid of the money system. We're stuck on money system, but until that happens, we got to work with everybody else's thing, because this is all people apparently know. All people apparently know is, well, it just takes money to live, and I got to make as much, and it turns us into assholes. I without getting too much into it, a little over a year and what was it? Let's call it 14 months ago or something like that. I stood in a place and I testified to the Lord above, or the Lord wherever, or whoever, or and I made my peace, and I stood my peace, and I stood my ground. I stood my ground. That was the major thing there. I was standing my ground. I had people working underneath me, literally, but it was my ground for that time. So, and the CDC estimates this flu season is at its midpoint, still urging. We have to get off the money system, because shortly after that, whatever it was, I laid out the thing. I was screamed out to the thing. Remember a couple of months ago where they had the national Scream Helplessly into the Sky Day? Well, I don't know. Did they get that from me? Because I think I did that a while, a year before, And I laid it out, and I told people, this was a night of a super moon and perfect eclipse of some sort, and blah blah blah. But I was talking to God, basically. We were having a one-sided conversation, talking about the future of humanity, and it ultimately came down to we all need to start learning to love each other a little bit more. And in the year that's passed by now since our current president got elected, I don't think we have. I think we've kind of started to come together a little bit, but there's still so much division. People are still very, very divided on this one, and the love is not flowing freely, because ultimately I think what our president is trying to do, at least from the special intel sources that I listen to on YouTube, he's trying to restore the system to a level where it's livable and we can continue the thing. Now, I'm going to disagree with that, because I think we need to just throw the whole fucking thing in the garbage. But it's his presidency. Maybe during my presidency we can really fuck shit up. But and we probably will. So I think maybe that'll be my campaign thing, and in 2020, vote for Cindy. She'll fuck shit up. Seriously. I'm already, the campaign, I guess when we're talking about it, the campaign for governor, it's just because it's the probably the highest office I can aspire to during this election cycle. We don't have a presidential election coming along. So, if we did have a presidential election, I'd be running for president. I don't want to be the governor. I want to be the president. And I think if I should have a presidency, we really are going to change things for the better. And it's going to be very fair. We're going to actually throw rules out. We're going to go line by line. I think this is one of the things that I've been really thinking about, because this is not it's not just like something I'm saying. It's just, I do think about this. And I think everybody should think about, what would you do if you were president? I'm like, well, first of all, I'd re-ratify the Constitution and reestablish some rights. And then secondly, we'd go line by line, and we'd start getting rid of laws. We'd streamline, because as it stands right now, every day you're alive, you're probably committing at least 3 felonies. That's what they figured out. It's like you're probably committing at least 3 felonies just for living your life, because there's that many laws. They have laws about planking in certain places. Why would they have laws? I don't know. Who the fuck knows why? But so we're gonna change that shit. We're gonna get rid of laws. We're gonna try and basically we're gonna ultimately get rid of the we're not gonna be beholden to the Rothschild family or the international banking cartel or something. We're gonna take back our right to coin our own money as far as government goes. So we just got rid of all the red dots. Look at them. They are very, very nice. Look at all the red dots. It's not racist. They're pieces. They have fucking red dots on them. Okay? It just sounds racist, I suppose. But it's not racist, because what race are Indian people? They're really, when you think about it, what race are Indian people? Because there's only 4 different races, 5 different races maybe. But they're Caucasian, technically. They're brown Caucasian. At least that's kind of what I was told. But Who knows? Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble on. I'm gonna get on to doing the puzzle here. So we'll probably make a follow-up video tomorrow night. So have a good night. Have a pleasant day. Have a pleasant tomorrow. Blah blah blah. That's it.